That's why I never mentioned it. They didn't know what it's going to fucking be like. I might not have lived. And it looked like AI. Have you seen it? It looks like AI.
The one.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it. Where you.
Have you seen the video?
Yeah.
But it looks like it's AI. I've seen, because they sent me the video through, and it looks like, and people are going, is that
You're
AI?
just being superimposed, but you're not. You're there.
No. 5 o'clock in the morning, I have to climb out the top. You've been to the London Eye?
Yeah.
I have to climb out the top of the pod, right on top. Have you not seen it?
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did a rap on
That's
top of it.
bonkers.
It's crazy.
Into a drone, then? That was
Yeah, the drone was coming along. Pass my phone. There's my phone there. I'll show you the video. Ridiculous. Shit myself. And I thought they said they're going to go in a cage, and I thought the cage was like that, but it wasn't. The cage was just there, and I told it on.
like strapped in, are you?
Yeah.
Like a sort of harness. And like, at least it was a nice day, or it looks it.
What, nice day to die? Yeah, it was crazy. And I don't like heights either, to be honest with you. When you've got 7 kids, Simon, you've got to keep working, mate, you know that. Hang on a second. That's when I was in it. That's inside.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's bonkers.
That's the finished video.
Oh my God. Rather you than me.
Bonkers. 5 o'clock in the morning, that was. But what they were doing, that was like an a cappella group who, during the World Cup, they're having people come and sing songs in the pod.
Okay.
Obviously not on top, but that's the PR for it. So they said, go on top of the pod. So they said to me, right. So he went, okay, it can only hold 14 stone. That's what they said, this thing, right? Yeah. I'm like fucking 16 stone. So I said to them, I'm 15 stone alive. So I'm 15 stone, that's it. So this will be all right. So that's what they said. This is 2 weeks before I did it. Yeah. So I said, I'm 15 stone. They said, oh, it'll be all right. He's got, but it only holds 14 stone. Are you 14 stone? No, I'm 15 stone. It'll be all right, So the day before, I had to then phone they phoned me for a check, HR or whoever it is, you know what I mean? So I've been speaking to them for like 2 weeks. They phoned me and they said, right. So they're writing all this down. Yeah. Side. So and they said, so you are 14 stone. I went, I'm not. I said, hang on a second. Are you trying to get me to say on the phone I'm 14 stone, so when I die, I said I was 14 stone. I said, no, I'm 15 stone. So you know I'm 15 stone. So never mind trying to say. I said, I've been telling you this for 2 weeks.
Doesn't matter how many times.
How many times you want me to be 14 stone? I'm not. They said, all right.
Yeah. Welcome back to Defend and Attack with Mr. John Barnes and myself, Simon O'Brien, supported by Soccer Speaker. If you want this lovely fella, or say Kenny Dalglish, or Stephen Gerrard, or even a few Evertonians to talk at any of your events, then have a look at soccerspeaker.co.uk. Yeah, that'll do it. Enjoying the World Cup?
Loving the World Cup. Not the politics, but loving the World Cup.
It just gets you.
I must admit, I'm loving Donald Trump as well, to be honest with you, because it just makes me laugh every time, you know.
John, you'll get us barred from America?
No, I think I'm already barred from America, but no. Listen, so many World Cups. I remember the one in Qatar. It gets quite contentious depending on where it is, because people are trying to make something of nothing.
Yep.
So everyone gets all nervous about what's it going to be like, but once the football starts, it's fantastic.
It is.
All the countries.
But, you know, the stuff with Trump, that's just bonkers, isn't it?
Well, this is what we do. This is what we do. All we need is Nigel Farage to get involved, and then we've got a full set. It was funny because you remember when the American lad got back in and it was like, oh yeah, well maybe we can do that with Kwanzaa. Okay, no, Kwanzaa is banned, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
He's got 2 game ban now, not 1.
Yeah, just give him a call.
No, but nobody only had a 1 game ban. Now they've made it 2. So let's try it. So no, that's not for us. That's not.
I reckon that everyone, the whole world must have been willing Belgium to win. After all.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And the thing about it is that, you know, because, and so many Americans, because they don't really understand football, they can't believe that they've been knocked out. Why aren't we winning? We're America. Why aren't we great? And everybody's trying to analyze it. When, you know, that's just the way it is, because they're rubbish, aren't they? So what can you do? They can't win everything, can they?
I've had some great stories as well. I mean, the Cape Verde stuff. I mean, everyone's going on holiday to Cape Verde.
But, you know, the thing about it is that this is the way football is going. As much as I've always said this, you're going to get, like, look at Morocco, how far they went, and we've seen it before, and then look at Cape Verde, and you could look at Ghana against England, and the way that teams play. Once upon a time, you'd beat them 5 and 6. Whereas now, what has happened is that these teams have now got better. A lot of their players have got European experience. They're getting more organised because they always had talent. African teams always had great, skillful players. But they're getting more organised, they're getting more professional, they're getting more experience of coming to Europe. And we always think, because of the talent they have, physicality, that every single World Cup comes along, someone's going to do something. But ultimately, when you're getting down to, and we're not there yet, but when you're getting down to the semi-finals and stuff like that, it's going to be the same old
It's the big guns, isn't it?
Of course, Germany have gone out, Holland have gone out, the Netherlands have gone out. But ultimately, it is still going to be the same old faces. Brazil have gone out, but, we're looking at Norway possible. Hopefully not. Until last night, Morocco. So there are one or two, you may say, surprises. But ultimately, when it gets down to the semi-final and final, it's not going to change.
It's the Europeans, isn't it?
And the top South American teams. Brazil have gone out, but Argentina are still there. Colombia have gone out, but it's going to be, Argentina, Brazil, and the European teams.
Yeah. But tell you what I have really found fascinating is that this is the World Cup where all the big names turned up. Maybe Ronaldo and not so much, but everyone else is just on fire.
Speaking of Ronaldo, I feel so sorry for Portugal. I've been saying this so far. This for me is going to be a lost generation of Portuguese players. Because when you look at like Vitinha and people like that who won the Champions League, and then you have obviously the players they have who are fantastic. Ronaldo inhibits them.
Yeah.
You talk about these players, Bruno Fernandes. You got so many good players at Portugal. And you look at Gonzalo Ramos, who comes on and scores. They say he should be playing, he doesn't play. Stick with Ronaldo. And these players now in their 29, 30, this is going to be their last World Cup. And this Portuguese team, without Ronaldo, I think would have had a fantastic chance of winning. I've said it before, but he just has these fans and this power.
I love that. You're one of the few people who'd be bold enough to say, yeah, drop Ronaldo.
Would I be brave enough to do it if I was Martinez? But I tell you who would, Thomas Tuchel. Because Thomas Tuchel he's his own man, he does what he wants. He didn't take Foden and Cole Palmer, and if we lose, he's going to get criticised, but he doesn't care. He does it. Ancelotti would have done it. So Martinez really just, and it's not a shame, because you can never tell what would have happened, but I'm just looking at that Portuguese team player for player, and you're thinking if they had Ramos as centre forward, who scores goals, and he came on and scored in the World Cup, but he didn't even come on in the last rounds. And of course, I'm going to get lots of stick, because Ronaldo has his fans, and he criticised.
Just the odd one here.
You criticise Ronaldo and you're in trouble, but I just feel sorry for the rest of the Portuguese team.
One ego can inhibit a team, can't it?
Well, it depends on the ego. Because Messi is a different ego. Because the players love Messi, because he's more humble. He respects his teammates more. He doesn't complain when he don't pass to him. He doesn't throw his hands in the air if anything goes wrong. So you can have a superstar, you can have an ego, but you have to also have that relationship with your teammates, which I don't think Ronaldo has.
And look at those superstars. You just mentioned Messi. Mbappe, Kane. Unquestionably.
Well, that's
Haaland.
I mentioned France.
Wow, have they turned?
I mentioned France, and that's why I think France are the strongest team, and I think they'll win, because they respect their teammates and the French flag, the French team, the French culture. Because I'm looking at Mbappe for Real Madrid, and he's a bit of a sycophant, and he's like, I'm a superstar. But when they play for France, he plays properly for France, and he respects his teammates. Dembélé, who is the European Player of the Year, won the Ballon d'Or, but he is subservient to Mbappe in the French team. He doesn't feel Mbappe didn't win the European Player of the Year, I did, so therefore it's all about me. But he says, okay, I'm going to play on the right. Mbappe does what he does, and he got Elise, and then he got players like Doué and Barcola, and they're just I can't see anybody stopping them.
Well, I'll tell you, I called one because at our time I was watching the Norway-Brazil match with my missus, and it was 0-0 at half time, and I went, Haaland will score. Brazil have got to do something again, because he will score. I didn't think he'd get a brace in that matter then.
Well, Brazil were disappointing. We always expect from Brazil, but then looking at the Brazil team, because it's Brazil, it's in that hemisphere as much as it's North America, but they won the last time in North America, and it's in their part of the world. Lots of Brazilian fans, and we just love Brazil because of the history and the tradition of Brazil. So we love Brazil. But looking at that player for player, that Brazilian team ain't great. You've got Casemiro still playing in there, Paqueta, who was at West Ham, and so if you look at them player for player, they're not a great team. But since they're Brazil, we expected them to. And in many respects, you look at Norway, and Norway dominated possession against Brazil. Norway don't even play that way. So as much as I'm glad they went out, because we would have been playing them in this round, I think Norway would be a harder game than the Brazil game.
But at least we understand the Norwegian players a lot more. They're
well, if you understand,
they're set up.
Well, we understand Haaland, 6'5", quick, strong, good in the air. No matter how much understand him, stopping him is a problem. Because I tell you, England, how we play, we're physical. You saw us against women up to 10 men. we out-muscle teams, we out-fight teams towards the end. But I'm looking at that Norwegian team, and they're huge. You know, I thought I must have been looking at a funny angle because I saw Haaland with his teammates, and there are 3 or 4 of them bigger than him, and he's 6'5". And they're all, you know, playing good. They're playing Europe. They're playing England. Play for good teams. They also have Odegaard, who's very skillful. So they can play, but they're also very strong. So it's not going to be as easy as people are making out.
Oh no, I don't think it's going to be easy. But I just think mentally, you know, we just know those players better than we would have known the Brazilian setup. I think that would help.
Yeah, but I think it's more. I remember like when we used to play against the Republic of Ireland, and it was like a Premier League match. At first, it was like we all played in England, and not only that, because the way the game was played, we're just so aggressive and fighting each other. Not a very technical game, and I think this game is going to be like that because 2 teams are just so strong and physical. The thing about it is that they're happy to be there. They're under no pressure. They've already said it. You know, we're going to lose Holland. We're going to lose against Brazil. Now he's saying, you know, we're going to lose against England. So all the pressure is on us. That's not to say that we can't handle that pressure because we have handled the pressure, but we'll wait and see.
I just think that Kane is just any doubters about Kane is just
There's no doubt about Kane. This England team is set up for Kane and Bellingham to score. That's it. You know, even if you look at the wide players with Gordon and Saka, whoever it is, they're going to work hard to create for them. So we're saying, why isn't anybody else scoring? This team is going to be like that. With Phil Foden and Cole Palmer, it would have been set up for them to perform and maybe different people to do different things. But with our 3 midfield players who are really just hard-working midfield players, they're not going to create much. You know, Declan Rice, Anderson, you know, they're just going to work hard.
Engines, aren't they?
Engines to work hard for Kane and Bellingham to score and everybody else to defend, which is fine. Because France are set up to have 6 defenders, 4 defenders and 2 holding midfield players, and a front 4. And in many respects, that's what we do.
But you still fancy in France?
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, look.
Do you know when I think they proved themselves? I think they proved themselves in the Paraguay game.
Oh, no, because they're tough as well.
Because that was proper old school South American football. I think what's his name in the midfield? It was Polares.
Listen, they were horrible.
The ref didn't know what to do. He was just running past people, just punching them in the face.
But even Mbappe, when the ball's off the pitch and not in time, they're pushing him, they're kicking him. I remember playing it, and Uruguay used to be like that. Paraguay always be like that. Brazil, not so much. Colombia, not so much. But particularly the guys. Paraguay, Uruguay, the guys.
It was proper old school. It's like...
But the thing about France is you can't intimidate them because physically they're strong as well. I mean, if you look at them, they're quick, they're strong. If you want to fight them, they'll fight you. If you want to play a technical game, they can. But on a one-off, anything can happen, can't it?
Yeah, it can.
Anything can happen. You saw how good Morocco were.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about against France. I want to talk about throughout the tournament and how good they are in the last. So, but listen, let's get through the Norway game first before we start thinking about that.
Yeah, here we go. I mean, well, you know, you have lived this. What's it like coming back to the domestic situation after you've been in the biggest tournaments in the world Cup?
Well, it depends on how it goes. In many respects, I take that back. It doesn't really, because it's completely separate. You're playing with, you know, and with me, and this is where England is really strange, because when I played, we never had this rivalry between clubs when I played for England. Me, Brian Robson, Ray Withens, Glenn Hoddle, you know, Peter Bears, we played for rival clubs, but we still had that. I think it's really the Gerrard, Beckham, Lampard goals when the Premier League started, that this whole idea of the England team being separate. If you play for Liverpool, they don't get on with the Man United players. I think Mourinho says we didn't get on with them, blah, blah, blah. That was a period in time when I think when the Premier League started, you had big egos who were like, well, Liverpool are better than Man United, and we're, you know, whereas I think that Gareth Southgate changed that, brought everybody back together. So now this England team now hasn't got that rivalry between, if you play for Liverpool, no Liverpool players there, but you haven't got that rivalry. So I think that, you know, the players getting back in is just a question of how fit they are, how hungry they are to come back in.
But what's it like mentally, you know, because...
It's different, because even when we played for England, what happens is you play for your club, you train every day, you play every week, then all of a sudden, 6 weeks later, you play 1 game for England. So England is like, that is why with Jurgen, it's interesting, Jurgen going to coach Germany. Does that suit him? Because Jurgen has to have the day-to-day involvement of impacting and influencing players every day in their lives as well as, whereas an international manager, you're getting other people's players. You're getting them for 1 week every 2 months. So do you have that influence? And club football was the same. So getting back into your club is now coming home to your family. Playing with England is like going on a little holiday with your mates, and then you come back to your family.
But where does it leave you fitness-wise? You know, because there's a reason you have a summer break, you know, to recharge the batteries. But then if you're out in the World Cup, particularly the conditions that you're playing.
No, but listen, they're going to be given another couple of weeks off. And rehabilitation that they have now, and the food that they eat and stuff. Nowadays, at McDonald's and do all kinds of stuff. So we didn't. And you heard about players coming back 2 stone overweight and stuff like that, and you had to get the weight off. Whereas that doesn't happen now. They're much fitter now the way they look after themselves. So that's really not going to be. I don't think that's going to be an issue, because they would have played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 matches maybe, and they're still together training and stuff. So they will have the rehabilitation. They'll rest, and they'll also manage their time pre-season. I don't think they'll be doing the same pre-season as everybody else who haven't been. And in pre-season games, they will manage that. So they do manage it much better. So I don't think it's necessarily good. Well, it won't with Liverpool, because we never had any place in the World Cup. Yeah. So I don't think it'll impact negatively on any of the players.
You just mentioned there, you said in the modern world and all that kind of stuff, that everyone's super fit and that kind of stuff. So go on back to your day then. When it was,
but if I broke my fingernail, I wouldn't be out for 6 weeks.
Yeah, no. but when it was a closed season, okay? Back in your day, come on, what was it like? Was it off the beach? Cocktails?
Because
coming back 2 stone heavier.
Listen, I didn't really do that. I didn't really put a lot of weight on a plate, and I'm not a big drinker. So I love
no
going
idea
out.
what you've just
I'm not a drinker. I used to go out to nightclub and like a dance, and I love going out, blah blah blah. But I think that the big drinkers were the ones. They're the problems, because of course some of them used to, and I don't drink even on holiday. I have a wife and kids and stuff. Even in the old days when I was 23, 24. I was never out, so I never came back overweight necessarily. But we're talking about other players who would put on 2 stone, come back, because that's what they did. They just drank every day, So I never really suffered from that. I suffered from, and this was in pre-season. Later on, I ate a lot of food, and later on in my career, because I had a lot of food, any weight I put on was because of eating, not drinking. So pre-season wasn't really an issue with me. But I think that generally speaking, what happens back then was a lot of people went on lads' holidays. Go to Ibiza for 2-3 weeks.
Did you do that? Did you go away?
I never did that.
Did the team go?
No, I never did that. Even my mates, I never did that. Yeah. I had young kids from I was like 21, and I never went on lads' holidays. So as a young player, even as a young player, I never went on lads' holidays ever. And I suppose that's when you go on a lads' holiday and the lads go out and So I've never really come back overweight.
I mean, the tabloids were around then, but the pressure on them now, to if they do go away.
Well, there's no pressure on them because they don't live their lives that way. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't even enter their head. So football has completely changed. So it's not as if they have to suppress their natural instinct to go and do what apart from Jack Grealish and Kyle Walker. I mean, apart from those two I love because they're like a bit of a throwback. No player now would even think, look at Saka, please. Saka better have his passport to try and get a drink anywhere until he's about 30. Not that he'd want to use it anyway. So players now are completely different. So they have nothing to worry about on that front because this is the way modern footballers are. So it's not as if they're suppressing they're inhibited in terms of I really want to do this, but I'm not because I know that there's cameras or stuff like that. That doesn't happen anymore.
What was it like though? When you've had that summer break. I mean, you said yourself you kept yourself feet dancing until 4 a.m. But you're still not at that level of fitness. Did you dread going back to training?
No. I love going back to pre-season. I was always at Watford we trained really hard, so I was always very fit. And you know that this is what you have to do. This is what you have to do if you want to play. So players look forward to getting back because you're like a school kid, so you haven't got your mates anymore. Okay, you got your wife and your kids, but it's like, can I get back to my mates type of thing? You know what I mean? So going back to pre-season was fantastic, not just for the training, but just for the camaraderie and stuff. But as you say, it's changed now because you don't have that. Because before, we come back for pre-season, not seeing each other, so you go to training. But after training, you go out to the pub, and then at night you'll be going out with because you're back now with the lads, aren't you? Yeah. So whereas now they don't live that way even during the season. They don't go out with each other during the week to the bars and the pubs and stuff like that. Anyway, they go home to their families, then they come to train. They go home to their families, they come to train. So they don't even. So it's not as if now they'll be looking forward to getting back together because they're all going to be together. So it's so different in my day to now.
Okay. On more domestic subject, I noticed the other day that you're number 5 now in the all-time Liverpool players list. Got to be happy there, haven't you?
Well, of course, it's a tremendous honour from a perspective of banter and who's number 5, who's number 4. I take everything like that with a pinch of salt. Because if I did what I did, and if people then said I'm number 10 instead of number 5, is that important?
Don't stop.
No,
you're laughing me off.
I'm telling you. I honestly, because when you look at that list, and you have to remember, because as much as I'm old, you have to remember that there are people who played before. Look at, people who say Graham Souness. Graham Souness on the different circumstances, he'd been number 2 or 3 or even number 1. Now you can go back to other players. You can go
He
back.
could have played for Paraguay.
But that's where
soon as-
Billy Little. That's why you look at Billy Little. Billy Little is still in the list, and Billy Little played in the 50s. So who's voting for him, type of thing. You know what I mean? So I always take things like that with a pinch of salt, and I tell you why. Because I did a thing as well about player versus player. The problem when you have so I did Pickford and Chilton, and I went for Pickford, and they're going, well, Chilford, and then you have Beardsley and Bellingham, and for Beardsley, and it's like, but you know, it's just an opinion. Players you played for, and because it's not position for position, but people take it so seriously. You know what I mean? Yeah. So people go, you should have been number 5. They say, you should have been number 5. You do what you do, and if they like you, they like you. If not, it's no big deal.
Sticking with your club, Munoz coming?
Well, once again, as I said last year, the solution to the problem is in signing players. We signed 5 players, 400 million. Look what happened. When we won the league and we signed Endo and Chiesa, who never played, and we won the league, we thought, now we've signed all these players. Last season, we were going to run away with the league. That's not the problem.
But at least Liverpool are staying constant and buying an expensive striker who's injured.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The thing about it is that a lot of clubs then feel, a lot of fans then feel you're showing ambition by spending money. So if you don't spend any money, they go, you're lacking ambition, you're not doing anything, and we won the league without doing that. And now, so I think clubs feel under pressure if it doesn't go well to spend money, which really, if it's not going to improve, and I'm not saying it's not going to be good, I'm sure he is, because a new manager coming in may want his own people, which I understand. But that doesn't because, of course, we really should have, with the players we signed last year, you'd have thought we would have won everything. So once again, I say to the fans, it's not, you know, it's not just about spending money. It's about getting the right balance, the right blend. And secondly, and more importantly, is trusting the manager, giving him time. Because if we now start this season and we lose 2 matches in the first month, are we then going to say, sack the manager? Because when David Moyes went to Man United, and because he didn't do what Fergie did, we got rid of him. Then Van Gaal, great manager, then Mourinho. And when Arteta went to Arsenal, they finished 8th in their first year. They finished 8th in their second year. They finished 5th in the third year. Yeah. They should have sacked him, shouldn't they? Yeah. But look what they've done now.
Yeah. Well, I've always said, the only time they haven't really started pushing up for that top 4-5 was when they gave Moyes, 9 years or something, you know, to build a side.
It's great if it happens straight away, but if it doesn't happen straight away, you still have to have that belief. Because I can tell you, there's not a manager who's gone to a football club where the fans haven't gone, yes, this is going to be great. That's what we're saying about Areola now. Careful how you say his name.
Yeah.
Areola?
I don't know. I'm not going to say it.
I'll call him Andoni. Because if come and hits the ground running, everything goes well, fine. But if it doesn't, what are you going to do? That's what Man United did. After manager, after manager, after manager. So,
but it's also what Everton we went through what 4 or 5 seasons of doing that. I don't know how many managers we had.
Absolutely.
Because you know,
and I tell you, they're good managers. Because there's no bad manager who goes to a top club. But you've got to give them time. You have to have the belief, and you have to have that trust in them, even if things aren't going well. Yeah. As Bill Shankly said, if you can't support us when we're not doing well, don't support us when we are. Yeah,
but you know, in Everton's case, there's always this. I feel there's always this desperation because looking over the park, saying, you give them, if a manager hasn't got us into the top 4 and nearly up on the same points as Liverpool by Christmas, that's it, you got. But that's got to stop.
But you know, I'll tell you what's hard for teams like Aston Villa, teams like Everton, because they're big clubs. The expectations there from the fans, which then means you look at a club like Bournemouth and Brighton where there's no expectation. So for the name of the game for them is always 4th or 5th from bottom from the start. There's no pressure on them, so you give them that time. They sign players for £20 million, they sell them for £100 million. Yeah, because they're not a club regular. Whereas Everton say, we've got to sign players for more money and keep them. We're not selling our players. So therefore, but the problem they have is that unless you're going to sign a player for £100 million, Bournemouth will spend £15 million on a player. Yeah. Everton buy a player for £15 million, they're lacking ambition. We've got to spend 50. A £50 million player isn't that much worse than a £50 million player. Yes, a £100 million player, yeah. So you end up spending more money. I'm not getting any better. I'm not getting better than a Brighton player type of thing. And because the expectations are there for Everton to show more ambition and to sign these players, sign a player no one's ever heard of. Brighton sign players nobody's ever heard of. It's fine. Everton sign a player nobody's ever heard of. It's going to be, why are we signing him?
Oh, here we go again. Everton.
No, but listen.
I know what's going to happen.
But I don't know.
They're going to lead us. They're going to show us the promised land once more, and then dash us on the rocks of despair.
When Everton were 4th from bottom, and you know, and he was like, "We stayed up. It's great, it's great, it's great," and then all of a sudden they are 10th, 12th. Where did they finish?
They're kind of pushing towards top half.
No, but where are they? Where did they finish last year?
I was like, like 10th, 11th, something like that. Well,
they're not happy with that. Like,
the big difference last year, it was almost boring. I wasn't counting numbers.
No, but exactly.
I wasn't doing algorithms with the last 3 games.
So the thing about it is that when you are in mid-table obscurity, that's when it kind of gets a bit like, oh, what's this? they're so passionate when they're third or fourth from bottom, and they're delighted and they're fighting and they stayed up and it's great. Or if you want to finish fourth or fifth, you're fighting for that. But when you're mid-table, it's a bit like, well, what are we doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's why I'm saying be careful what you wish for. Because when you're talking about being relegated the week before, I bet you think, I wish we were just 10th. Just like mid-table obscurity, you know. But because Everton is such a big club, Aston Villa, clubs like that, they're always looking to say, can we finish there? Rather than just being happy with where you are.
And of course, Liverpool's first game, Newcastle. That might be an interesting reception for Isaac, mightn't it?
Well, I think that because of what's happened this year to him, in terms of not just his injury, in terms of that he hasn't played particularly well, blah, 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 I don't necessarily feel that the animosity will be as
Stop
much.
it.
I
They'll
don't
kill
think
him.
it will. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm not saying they're going to feel sorry for him, but had he gone to Liverpool and won the league with Liverpool and won everything and done really well, I think it would have been worse then. You know, so...
Did you ever have it? That kind of, here he is back again, the traitor?
No, because I never left the club under those circumstances. Graham Taylor was at Watford coming to Liverpool. That's always going to happen. Liverpool came to the end of my career, so I went to Newcastle. Then I went from Newcastle to Charlton because it was, you know, so I never left a club when, I mean, it could have happened had I gone to Real Madrid, which I could have gone to Real Madrid when I was at my prime at Liverpool. Then coming back to play in Europe, it might have been that way. But I never left the club under the Steve McManaman circumstances. Okay. So I've never gone through that. And I even with the opposition fans, for a club that I've no history with, I've never played for, I've never really, because I'm not an offensive type of a person, which means that if I played against Man United or Arsenal, and I've scored lots of goals against Arsenal, I didn't rub it in their faces. And you know, certain fans hate certain players because of the way they are. I've just never been that kind of a person for opposition fans to hate me.
I've got news for you as an Evertonian. I hated you.
Yeah. No, seriously, even Everton. At Everton, I never used to get, you know, look, I mean, I mentioned Steve McMahon, of course, we know the circumstances he left, or Neil Ruddock, or people who, like, go to the fans and they go, and give it all. I never did that. We beat Everton, I saw them out, and it was fine, whereas fans hurt certain players because of their character in terms of what they do on the pitch. You know, if you're a snarl on the pitch, you know, Reedy, as much as Reedy's a Liverpool fan, but, you know, if you're, I mean, I don't know how Steve McMahon actually did it because, you know, he's a brave boy.
Yeah, he was. No one crosses that park, do they? Not without some animosity. Who else are we looking at this season? You know, Newcastle, where are they now, you know?
So once again, and I'm going to mention it again, because I mentioned it with Isaac, I might have said it on the show, where I said when they beat Liverpool and people said to me, will he stay? And I said, now will he stay because we won a trophy? I said, if he's going to go and he lost and he wants to stay, he would stay. The fact that you've won doesn't mean he's going to want to stay. Newcastle fans had to go at me. Oh, what do you think? Because you're saying that if we're not a big club, I'd say, no. Liverpool can't keep all the trend. This is modern football. Now there's talking about Bruno Guimaraes leaving. You know, and he Newcastle hero, and he wants to go no matter. So if Newcastle, and they can finish 4th or 5th Champions League, that's not going to make people stay. That's not so. Regardless what they have to, and because they're a big club like Everton and Villa as well. I'm not saying have a Brighton or Bournemouth mentality, but understand that the players are going to go. End of story. So if we can get another player to come in, we do well, he goes. That's what's going to have to happen.
But you've got to have some loyalty, though, haven't you? I mean, you know, Bruno's kids were born in Newcastle.
Well, I mentioned when when Carlo left Everton, you know, and Everton fans couldn't believe it because, you know, they knew that he loved the KFC on County Road. Can't believe he's left us. Yeah. So Bruno's kids are born in Newcastle. Yeah. So what?
But where do they, you know, what their ambition this year? Are they going to do the same old and
Once again,
spend?
But not only that, because to be honest with you, what they've been waiting for is for Eddie Howe to fail. To get a big name manager in Newcastle going to become huge. Eddie doesn't fit the right profile of a huge club, whatever, and he's done well. But now you can see that, you know, the players will come, the players will go. So I'm not saying they have to be a Bournemouth or a Brighton, but if Newcastle then say, can we finish between, you know, 6th and 10th, that's really what they're going to do.
He's in a funny position though, isn't he, Howe? I mean, my wife's Geordie. I have to be careful what I ever say about Newcastle. I have to be very nice about them. But he's in that really weird position. He brought the silverware that they've been craving for all those years, and then it all gets a bit ropey.
Well, look.
And suddenly it's all back to the wall.
But did we not say silverware is going to keep the players? So we want the silverware. Isaac's going to stay. No, he's not. You know, want the silverware. We're going to love Eddie Howe. Win the silverware. Next season they finish 18th, 15th, whatever. Don't win anything. They're going to want to get rid of him. And that's the nature of football. So therefore, this whole idea of loyalty doesn't exist. The loyalty is for the fans to the club. End of story. The club to the fans. Not from a playing perspective, not from a managerial perspective. Because if all of a sudden Eddie Howe or any other manager Eddie Howe's an example. Then Man United come and say, Eddie, come and be our manager. He's going to go. Yeah? So this whole idea of loyalty is only from the fans to the club.
But I do hope that Newcastle wins some of this season, just because there was the idea mooted, wasn't it, of making the approach to St James's, change its name to Howey. And I just thought that was just such a good idea. That's a serious suggestion.
You know, once again, it's all about winning something. It's not about. It's talking about the consistency you show over a period of time. Ange won the whatever that cup was that Tottenham won. They sacked him a year later. Yeah. So the whole idea, and Eddie Howe won something. So it depends on the thing you want to win is the league. Yeah. So if you win nothing, but if Newcastle win nothing, but finishing third or second or third, not even winning the league, or win the FA Cup and finish 10th, you want to finish second or third. So it's about winning football matches every week.
I promise you, as an Evertonian, I'd take the FA Cup in 10th. Even over the Champions League. It's just been so long since we won something. Just in desperation.
I don't know.
Honestly.
I don't know. Because I'll tell you, and I said it here, because if you win the FA Cup and finish 12th, for example, what then happens is you are happy when the FA Cup comes along, which is once every 6 weeks.
Which is a feeling I'd like to enjoy as an Evertonian.
Once every 6 weeks. Because you're losing all the games, but the 6 weeks in the third round of the Cup you've won. The next 3 games you've lost or drawn and you're not playing well. Then you win the quarterfinals. But think about how you feel when you're losing and you're not playing well.
Oh, you're used to that. Don't worry about that.
No. It's not. So the point I'm making is you win, you lose. But in the league you're doing really well, you're challenging. Yeah, then you get into the FA Cup semi-final. So up until March, April, those feelings of being happy and winning every week. Then you lose the FA Cup semi-final. You finish third in the league, so you're desperate at the end. But think about the journey of how happy you felt all the way till then. Rather than winning the cup at the end, knowing how desperate and depressed you were for the whole 6 months, but you managed to win at the end, you forget about the feeling of losing, though, don't you?
This is why I hate you Liverpool supporters. You're so patronising.
It's not. It's about
just because you win trophies.
No.
We just want a little bit of success.
No, I said the same thing about Liverpool. For Liverpool, for me, when they finished their most successful season, when they lost the Champions League final and finished second on 96 points, whatever it was, that for me is the most successful season. Not when Klopp won the league, the Champions League, and we finished 5th in the league, because we weren't playing well in the league, we're losing, everybody's disappointed, and we have to win the Champions League at the end. The most pleasing thing about that whole season was obviously then, you know, Everton finished 4th and they never went into Europe, so that made up for it.
That was a very, very low blow there.
No, but seriously, it's not for you though, it's my brother. No. I've told you about it, the Evertonian.
Yeah,
it's for him.
Yes.
I was just so happy for him.
I was bitter.
So I must be a bit of red.
So you just touched upon them then, and Tottenham, you know, what do they do now? I think if there was ever an instance that proves that a club, you know, if you sell one player, I mean, Kane has just proved it in the World Cup, you know, they went from Champions League, pushing to 1 point off relegation.
Yeah.
And because they sold Harry Kane. I mean, there was some of the factors, but that's got to be the main reason.
Yeah, but there you go about, you know, winning something. And won. You know, look what they won. They won a European Cup.
Yeah.
But they finished whenever they finished, and they sacked him. So it's not just about winning trophies. Now, obviously, once again, you then have a team across the road, down the road, who are being successful. So the pressure's on Tottenham, Arsenal, Everton, Liverpool. Yeah. So it's magnified because of how well the other team are doing. Rather than thinking, forget what the other team are doing. We know who we are. If we can finish 8th or 9th, we're happy. That's where Tottenham should be. Maybe not, you know, Everton may then feel, I don't know about 8th or 9th or 5th or 6th, but it's a bit different. But Tottenham can feel that's where we should finish. But it's then Harry Kane's going to go. And if Everton has a superstar, and in fact, Ndai,
Yeah.
is he still there?
Yeah, well,
Would you be surprised if he went? Would you be surprised? And of course you'd be disappointed, but do you feel, why would you want to leave Everton? The KFC on County Road, like Ancelotti.
it's the one reason to stay at Everton.
So players come and players go. That's the point I'm making. And these superstars will come, these superstars will go. Because if a superstar at Liverpool is going to go, a superstar in any other club's going to go. And the fans have to understand that. So what the fans have to do is start to say, we're not going to undermine the club by putting pressure on the club to keep players happy, by overemphasizing how important they are in relation to their teammates. We're going to keep him. We love you. If you want to go, thank you very much for your service. You've been great. Go. That's what you have to do. That's what Newcastle did with Isak to try to keep him. And I use Liverpool as an example with the 3 boys who left when their contract ran down, Firmino and Mane. When they ran their contracts down, then they left, which is fine. And you know, people would have had to go at Trent because he's a local boy. But what you ask of them while they're at the club is you give 100% effort, commitment, desire. Then if you want to go on a free transfer at the end, we don't hold that against you. But a lot of players who run their contracts down then don't perform on the pitch the year before because they don't try. So football has changed in that respect.
I could never understand them, actually. I mean, I'm going to get stick in the pub about this, but the whole Trent thing, that he is the worst betrayer, the worst traitor in years.
Well, I remember Steve McManaman. I mean, for local boys, it's more difficult, isn't it? But you have to understand, it's, you know, he should just say, listen, I've done well. I've done well for Liverpool. Liverpool's done well for me, and I want to try something new. Yeah. End of story. Now, for people to then go, well, you should ask for a transfer so we can get 50 million for you. Come on. I mean, would you advise your son to do that? You know, if you're going to make more money by going on a free transfer, what would you say to your son?
Well, that's why I didn't get it. I mean, you know, and I get this point, but I just did not get the level of animosity towards him. When you've won the Champions League, you've won the league, and still that's not enough. I think it was because they all said his Spanish was too good.
Unfortunately, well, they didn't know until after he'd left. Because I tell you, if he was speaking Spanish 3 months before, they would have burned his house down. So the thing about it is that, you know, unfortunately, this is the age we live in. If Trent was going to be, and you can't be honest, so don't blame Trent at all. So if Trent was going to go, listen, I'm going to go to Madrid at the end of the season, but it's best for me to go on a free transfer, but I'm here, I'm going to give 100% till my contract runs down, because my contract is this, because I can tell you, if I'm not playing with it, if I break my leg and the club drop me and I can't play anymore, you're not really going to care about me. The fans won't, because somebody else will come along, and if I'm playing badly, so therefore, it's a two-way situation. They only love you when you're doing well. If you're not doing well, in fact, we've seen it before with players. What's he doing here? Get rid of him, drop him, sell him, he shouldn't be here. That could have been Trent. So it's not personal. The love they give Trent is not personal, it's because he plays well. So therefore, if Trent decides to do something for himself and his family, I've not got an issue with it at all. And fans should understand that.
Okay. Who are you tipping for the league?
Well, it's going to be, listen,
I know we're still in World Cup.
Arsenal will be the favourites. I think more than Man City because of the Pep factor. As much as the same team and a manager coming in now who knows because he was assistant on the Pep's is a similar kind of thing. But Pep not being there, I think, will affect them. And Arsenal will still be strong. So, you know, it'll be between I think Arsenal, Man City and ourselves for the top three. But I'll make Arsenal still the favourite. Because, of course, Andoni, as we're going to call him, we have to wait and see how it starts.
Yeah. Controversial moment in the old World Cup. So you take it all the way back for the Argentina foul, but then you don't take it all the way back for the foul.
Look, we are human beings, yeah? So when you look at controversial moments, when you look at, I'm going to talk about in the Premier League, what is going to happen in the world is that there are certain people, certain teams, certain groups are going to be an advantage. That is human nature. So I know that Liverpool will get more decisions at Anfield than Crystal Palace will. Yeah? So unless it's that blatant.
Well, that's what VAR means, isn't it? Virtually always red.
Yeah, well, interestingly, Liverpool fans will complain a lot when it goes against them, as we all do. So as much as I don't think anything in the World Cup has been blatant, you can be under pressure because it's Argentina. You can be under pressure because you can look at what happens if it's American to put him under. So him being sent off, not so much him being sent off. It's ridiculous that Donald Trump got involved and they did that. But I'm talking about the decision that's made on the field. I don't think they've been that controversial.
Yeah, but I'm talking specifically about the Argentina-Egypt game where they pulled it all the way back for the foul against the Argentinian player.
Right.
But then for Argentina's goal, Salah is clearly fouled in the box.
No, that wasn't a foul.
Oh, stop it.
That wasn't a foul.
Yes, it was.
You mean when he won the ball and then Salah tripped over him after he won the ball?
Stop it.
No. Once again, this is what it's all about. This is about opinions. That was not a foul.
I can't believe I'm defending
He got the ball. Yeah, because he's left Liverpool. That's why he defended him.
Yeah, fair enough. He's
got the ball, and in trying to then put his foot down, Salah's actually. So if Salah was still in control of the ball, yes. But after the boy had won the ball, he played the ball from him, and then there was a bit of a clash. So had that clash happened when Salah was still in control of the ball, but the ball had already gone.
Yeah, then explain this to me, because I'm a complete pedant on this kind of stuff. So there's been loads of times in the World Cup, and domestically as well, where they have a look at it and they go, no contact, attack has gone down, so no foul, no penalty. Then the attack should be booked for simulation. Isn't that the rule?
Well, there is certain times when you actually simulate to go down, or there's certain times, for example, you can go down because you are off balance. As much as he's not touched, he's not kicked you.
Do you want an ice cream?
You're off balance. Is that your phone again, yeah?
No, it literally is the ice cream van. Do you want an ice cream?
No, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Look at me, I can't put it on. So there are times when you're off balance and you go over, which isn't simulation, And as much as he's not touched you, he might give you a nudge. And secondly, there are times when you think he's actually going to kick you, so you go over to get out the way so you don't get kicked, but he's now pulled his leg away, he's not touched you, he's gone over. So I think they're clearly, and VAR and people and referees and even football fans and football players know when it's simulation or when it's not simulation. Because sometimes you go over when you've not been kicked, but it's not simulation. So everything is, and secondly, football is a contact sport. So just for the very fact that there is contact, it doesn't mean that it should be a penalty either. If the penalty,
sure you don't want a Mr. Whippy?
I'm sure.
He's here now.
I'll do a quarter pounder and cheese. But that's the thing about football. It's a hard game to referee. Hard game to referee.
Yeah, so says you're the attacking player. As a defender, I'd be livid if someone doesn't.
Oh, no.
Because
Hang
you
on a
get
second,
booked the other way.
It's even worse. It's even worse now because, it was worse because football defenders don't tackle now. You think about half the defenders. Back then, unless you actually broke somebody's leg, you ain't even getting a yellow card. So when you talk about half the defenders now, it's easier for defenders now because you don't tackle, do you? No. They may be diving and doing what they're doing, but defenders don't tackle. The defenders now, it's all about how good you're on the ball. For me, it's about how you defend. And that's why, look at Trent. That's why Trent's not there. Because he's gone, I want defenders. That is why, if you look at Didier Deschamps, he said, I don't care how good you are on the ball. We've got enough 4 players to score the goals. You don't need to be a good player, in possession. So the best teams are the ones who have defenders who defend and attackers who attack. Everybody attacks, everybody defends. Whereas these teams who say we want to have everybody comfortable on the ball, everybody can play, and you'll forget about defenders who maybe aren't as good on the ball, to then pick defenders who are better on the ball, but they can't defend. France have gone against that. Lots of teams now say, let's get back to having just good defenders. Everton, who's the right left back for France? I'm sure he played for Everton. Luca Digne.
Yeah, Luca Digne.
He would never get an England squad.
Do you know what? I've been thinking this already because he did play for Everton, and he's good going forward, but he's not all that. And I can't believe that he hasn't been attacked more. He's really. I think he's got away with it.
First of all, you need to get the ball to attack. Whereas if you're going to keep possession, you're not going to get at defenders. And secondly, if you look at how hard the French front four work when they've lost the ball to get back into a defensive position, that you're never going to get isolated. The wide players don't get isolated. You look at Barcola, Doué, and the wide players getting back to the ones who get isolated are the 2 centre-backs, because the full-backs go, and those 2 centre-backs, Saliba and Upamecano, are very good defensively anyway. Yeah. So the French full-backs aren't going to get isolated. Yeah.
You are going to be welcome in France.
Oh, I can tell you.
Well, you won't be going to America, so you may as well go to France next year.
I said it at the start, and honestly, I just can't see a more balanced team in terms of, when you saw the game, you want to fight them, they can fight. You want to play a technical game, you want to sit back and defend, tight areas around the box. That's probably where we are going to fall down without having Cole and players like that who are in tight areas. Good, strong runners. If teams defend deep against us, as Ghana did in the first half in Panama, we can't really play through them. We haven't got those type players. But France can. And if you play a game against France where you stretch the game or you say we're going to play a high line with the pace they have up front with, Mbappe, is just like, I should be there. I should be their agent, shouldn't I?
Say, if you were managing England, how would you get them to beat France?
If I was managing England to get them to beat France, I'd probably bring over Cole Palmer and Phil Foden. Listen, how you get them to beat France is you're trying to keep it tight in the back, and you can win a game because it's a game of football on a one-off. You look at us when we beat Jurgen Klopp beat AC Milan. How did he do that? You're 3-0 down and you managed to beat them as much as you should have lost, whatever. So it's not as if you're going to outplay them. It's a one-off. You play them 10 times, they will beat you 8 times, but it's a one-off, so anything can happen. If we're not going to outplay France, so to then say we're going to outplay France, and of course, what can happen in a one-off as well is they can play France. Pickford has a worldie. They hit the post 10 times. We score a lucky goal, beat them 1-0. And therefore, we deserve to beat them. So if you say, how do we outplay France? We're not going to be able to outplay France.
There must be a system. They'll play it. There's such engines up the middle of England.
So if you look at player for player, what they have, player for player, what we have, what those players can do on and off the ball, what we can do on and off the ball. So you're talking about Kane and Bellingham, yeah? But you look at the French front four, for example, and then they can bring on some other players. Turkey, who's not even getting a game, and look how good he is. And then you got Barcola, who's not getting a game, Doué. And defensively, they just have strong defenders and excellent attackers. We have got strong players, and Kane and Bellingham, but we don't have anything else if you want to talk about flair, invention, skill. But you don't need that to get so far. And even to win, you don't need that, because you can play against France, backs to the wall, Bellingham, Elliott, Anderson, Declan Rice, great performance in front of the back four. Defending, Harry Kane can score a goal from a corner or whatever, and we can win 1-0. But if you expect to then have a team that's going to play better than France, outplay France, or Spain, it isn't going to happen.
Thanks for that.
But we can beat them. But we can beat them. Not just knockout football in the World Cup. That is the joy of cup football. So that's why when you talk about having a good winning the FA Cup, we can win a cup because that can happen. You cannot win the league by doing that. Yeah?
Yeah.
So
Here's one for you, Barnesy. Unbeknownst to a lot of people, I have actually played against the USA in an international.
what sport?
No, in football. Promise you, promise you. It also ruined any chance I had of playing for England. It was a disaster of an idea.
How long ago was this?
This is in about 1994. I was doing a series called Planet Football.
The World Cup was in America then as well, wasn't it?
Well, so it turned out that Puerto Rico, their team, was made up entirely of Americans. And so there was a friendly, USA against Puerto Rico, and that was the story we were doing. More or less everyone was from New York, okay? So we were just there, I'm just sitting in the changing rooms, just chatting to the lads and chatting to the manager. And the manager of Puerto Rico said, "Do you fancy a game?" I went, "Yeah." He said, "What position?" I said, "Left wing." And he went, "Go on then, go on you get." So next thing, I'm out playing football against the USA for Puerto Rico.
You look a bit Puerto Rican. You can speak a bit of Spanish as well.
Yeah, si. And I actually crossed for the equalising goal, 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
could have got a contract out of that, couldn't you?
That literally is my international career.
So what
in
about
a
when you
nutshell.
have, you know, they have these
I've
celebrity
never
games
lost
here?
in an international
Have you ever
game.
played any of these celebrity games here?
Yeah.
You must have done.
Yeah. Do you know what I noticed about the celebrity games? Because you have all a mix of the old pros and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And there was a time, like particularly when we had the Brookside team and we kind of merged with the Corrie team as well for a while. And we were all right. We were quite a good team, you know, because everyone thought we'd just turn up and just be a bunch of actors. Well, no, we get stuck in.
was all right.
Yeah, we get.
Sinead was a good player.
Honestly,
Some good
yeah, we did. And so we turn up, and particularly against the ex-pros, you'd be playing the ex-pros, and we go 1-0 up, and they did have a little laugh about it. And then we go 2-0 up, and then they would kick us to bits. Because the mentality, the
I can't
professional.
remember who played centre half from
Professional-
Brookside, but he was very tough. Can't remember his name. Big guy.
Professional. They had this professional mentality that just suddenly kicked in and went, "We are not."
But you know why that
getting
was?
beat by these.
We played against that before, and of course I was like in my 50s and I was playing type of thing, so you can't play against these young kids. But anyway, what happens is that you are doing it for a bit of a laugh.
Yeah.
But they aren't.
Yeah.
So as much as you would like them to still
Yeah.
have a bit of a laugh, they don't. So after they then get really serious, you then got to change.
Yeah.
But you have to be young enough and fit enough to be able to do that. And I have not been like that for 15 years, so I just don't get involved.
Yeah,
anymore.
it was.
Really regret
The guy who summed it up for me is Harper, Alan Harper. It was again, you know, we fluked another goal, fluked a goal, and he just turned around to his player and said, "We are not letting these bastards beat us. Come on!" It was like, "Oh,
Well,
all right."
Everton players have said that for many games.
Yeah, it doesn't normally work though. But there you go. So, yeah, but I used to absolutely love playing. It was never.
When was the last time you played?
Well, I played till I was 60, so that was last year was my last game. I played for Liverpool University Old Boys for years, and I always thought if I can.
And what is
play-
the youngest people you're playing against? That's the problem. If
oh.
everybody's 60, that's
Well,
fine.
it's a vets team, so the youngest you're going to be playing against is like 30, 35.
Come on, that's a 35-year-old. 60, you can't play against a 32-year-old.
No, you're not.
That's the problem when we played as well. You know?
I certainly wasn't flying up and down. You know what I mean? I was
No,
just
but then-
standing there saying, "Don't
But
give
so
it to
even
me."
if a 32-year-old cannot play, and you can play against them.
Yeah, no.
You know, you can't run around
No,
anymore. So you've given up gracefully. Well, that's why you're on your bike all the time, aren't you? Keep
Well,
it fit.
that was the point. The point was, you'll know, it's everyone's bane except for the small players like Messi, the knees. As soon as I started feeling my knees, you have to make a decision then.
I think it was means the belly, not the knees. And it's also the age. Forget about your knees. When you're old, you can't do that anymore. You can't run around.
Yeah.
As Portugal found out with Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah, so the boots
Sorry,
are firmly
Cristiano.
hung up, yes. But I got to 60. That was all right. It wasn't a bad career, but there you go. Anyway, I digress. Right, questions, all right? These are coming from the socials and emails, etc., okay? First question, John. Everyone wants to know, where is Millwall?
Well, I've explained this to people, and as much as people,
You cause such a
younger
furore.
people, would say it's in South London, and I said it's in East London, we can say Southeast London, but why I say London? Because if you look at the Thames is not a straight line. If it's a straight line, North London, South London, East London, West London, yeah? Because the Thames goes like that. As much as Millwall may be south of the river, it is still east as the crow flies. So for me, it's East London, but if people want to say Southeast London, but they want to be pedantic about it.
But actually,
So-
it turns out you had some historians back in Europe because Millwall did actually start as an East London club.
Well, as East Londoners will tell you, everything started. The world started in East London.
And also,
Well, Arsenal were in Woolwich. That's Woolwich Arsenal, who are also in Southeast London, if you like.
and I also defer to your kind of idea of how the Thames runs, because you just recently had a very good view of it, didn't you?
I had a very scary view of it, which,
Go on.
I did this thing for the London Eye where they said, go and sing the England song at the top of the London Eye. Not the top of the London Eye, outside the London Eye. So went all the way around to the top, and the top one, they had a little, and they sent me. So they don't take the roof off, but there's obviously a hatch that you can open to actually fit through to then get on it, I suppose, to clean it but I'm going to do a wrap on top of it. And they sent me the dimensions of it to get through to begin with.
Yeah.
First of all, they said, they're going to be in a cage. The cage only holds 14 stone. How heavy are you? I said 15, but I'm really 16, so I was lying. But anyway. And they sent me the dimension of these cage. And the dimension of the cage was, we're going to send it in inches. Yeah. It was about 28 inches square. So I got my tape measure out, and I went 28 inches. So I went, that's 2 foot 4 inches. And I went 2 foot 4 inches, 2 foot 4 inches, 2 foot 4 inches, put it on the ground, stood in the middle. I got my kids to lift it up over me to see if I can fit in it. And I went, well, if I put my shoulders like that, I might be able to fit through. So anyway, I did it.
You're nuts.
5 o'clock in the morning.
Nuts.
5 o'clock in the morning. And it looked like AI. If you ever see it, it looks like AI. And people are going, oh, that was... I said, no, 5 o'clock, I was out there. And it wasn't a cage, because the cage, I wouldn't want to be there anyway. Yeah. But if the cage is over you like that, you think, okay, it's a cage, so you're going to be safe. But it's not a cage. It's just a little thing that goes to about your waist, and you kind of hold on to it. But I had a harness on and everything, so it was all right.
Rather you than me. Anyway, back to the questions. Okay, here's one for you. Do you remember giving a couple of lads a lift to a funeral whose car had broken down?
I stop and give people lifts all the time. Honestly, if I'm driving somewhere and someone wants to lift, they're about to give us a lift, I give them a lift. So, how long ago was this, and where was this? Did I tell you?
That's all we've got.
Oh right, yeah, very possibly, because was it when the Hillsborough funerals?
I'm not sure. Someone's uncle.
Whose uncle?
I don't know. It was someone's uncle.
Oh, someone's uncle. Well, I mean, everybody's someone's uncle, aren't they? I mean, it could have been. Well, if you're male and you've got a sister or a brother who's got kids, then you're their uncle, aren't you? So I can't remember to do that, but I do, listen. In the old days, we used to get lifts and give lifts and do all kinds of stuff all over. So I can't specifically remember that, but it wouldn't surprise me.
What happened at Tranmere?
Got a sack.
That's
Well,
the question.
the thing about it is that obviously what happened at Tranmere was that when you have Tranmere finished outside the playoffs the year I came, just outside the playoffs, and then a lot of the three of the best players left. And of course, after that, it was always going to be difficult because they stopped with them any money to spend. We couldn't buy any players. And if you look at what happened to Tranmere, I lasted till about the November, probably 11 games. We were fourth from bottom. We won 3, lost 8, but of course football was different back then, whereby people give you no time at all. And I don't know why people expected things to work out even better for Tranmere, because since then they've still been in the bottom division, not done anything. So it was always going to be difficult.
Did you enjoy it though?
I enjoy the football, but I don't enjoy the politics of football. You know, when fans have got young people telling you what you should be doing, how it should be done, and it's even worse now at the highest level, at any level. You know, so it was difficult, but you know, this is just part of football, isn't it?
Who do you want to win if England play Jamaica?
In a friendly or in a World Cup?
Oh, go. Let's
World Cup final. Jamaica have never won the World Cup, have they? Let's just get there.
Okay.
Let's just get there.
In a friendly?
A diplomatic draw. How is that?
Oh, no. Not getting off the hook like that.
Well, it depends. If it's in Jamaica, I'd want Jamaica to win. If it's in England, I'd want England to win.
Okay, yes. Okay, sit on the fence, why don't you? Okay, okay. Thoughts on hydration breaks?
You don't need hydration breaks. And I'll tell you why. Because before hydration breaks, there's enough break in play for a player to get it. Because it always happens. The ball went out there's a free kick, somebody's down, you got a minute before, you know, you're going to kick off again. You go to the side, they throw something on, you drink the thing. It's like, you know, why do you need... Because, you know, in hydration breaks, there could be players in hydration breaks who don't want to drink. You drink when you want to. And there's enough breaks in football for a player who wants to drink because it's enough breaks to then go to the side and you can get one of those squeezy bottles and you drink it. To have an hydration break when, you know, you may feel, well, I don't really want to drink now, but you have to call it a hydration break. And then you want to drink and you can't because there's no hydration break. And in fact, it's interesting because, you know, hydration breaks, they break for the so are you able to drink when it's not the hydration break? Because I'm sure when the ball's gone into the crowd and you got 40 seconds, you can run to the side and get a drink. Yeah. Or are they saying you can't do that anymore? I don't see what the problem with that is. I don't think you need them.
You know, I mean, I really enjoyed the fact that everyone, you know, all the fans from everywhere have booed them. Because we know all it is the slow, well, we know it's a commercialised game anyway, but it's just further commercialisation. I remember speaking to some guys from an American network years ago, and they said, the problem with football, soccer, in America is we can't get enough adverts in. And that is a huge problem. And that's why it's very difficult to commercialise this sport and push it in America.
But it's not in America, but we don't really care because look at the money they're making everywhere else. It's not about America. So the thing about it is that there are ways of commercialising it without changing it, which is what's happened in England, France, everywhere else. It's just America has to have these things. So, and that's not why they can't commercialize it. That's because, you know, because it's not the number one sport. Regardless of what happens, people are going to watch American football, baseball, or basketball, no matter what you do with football. Have hydration breaks. Is it going to take over from baseball or American football or basketball? No, it's not. It doesn't need to. So I understand from that point of view, but it's been completely commercialized in our country. Yeah. But we don't have things like that. No. You don't need to have it.
Just leave it as
leave it alone.
Stop it. Exactly. Just leave it alone.
And have a drink. You can have a drink when you want.
You can have a Lucas Sport.
Because the thing about it is that also, you know, you get an exciting moment. And, you know, end to end and something. Then I go, oh, let's stop now. It's like, hang on a second. It's just getting good. You know what I mean? And because you set a corner and you have another corner of throw in and it goes, right, hydration break for 5 minutes.
Well, the hydration break, when they were having a hydration break in the lashing down rain, it's like, really? Is this for real? Thanks for joining us for another episode of Defend and Attack. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. See you on the next one.